Hello, today we will recap a thriller movie, in which people fight over a substance that extends their abilities. Before we start, please subscribe to our channel for free because we'll upload new videos regularly. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and enjoy. The film Dune is set in a distant future, roughly 10,000 years ahead. In this time, space travel connects various planets, each functioning like an independent nation under a mighty emperor. Arrakis, a desert planet, holds a vital resource known as spice, crucial for travel and health. The struggle for control of Arrakis unfolds due to the immense value of this precious spice. In the movie's beginning, Chani, a native of Arrakis, shares the suffering her people endured under the oppressive rule of House Harkonnen, overseen by Emperor Shaddam. Unexpectedly, the Harkonnen forces withdraw, leaving Chani anxious about the possibility of another group taking advantage of their planet's resources under the Emperor's orders. The narrative moves to Caladan, governed by House Atreides. Paul, the prince, possesses extraordinary abilities and has breakfast with his mother, Lady Jessica, a member of the powerful Bene Gesserit group. Lady Jessica has imparted their teachings to Paul, granting him special mental powers, including glimpses of the future. Paul's father, Leto, the Duke of House Atreides, convenes a crucial meeting with representatives from different noble houses. They receive a message from Emperor Shaddam, instructing House Atreides to assume control of Arrakis following the departure of House Harkonnen, with the goal of extracting the precious spice. Duke Leto reluctantly accepts the Emperor's directive and makes the decision to relocate to Arrakis. Lady Jessica notices Gaius Helen Mohiam, a member of the Bene Gesserit, closely observing Paul. Leto solidifies their commitment to go to Arrakis. While the Atreides troops get ready to depart, Paul is troubled by visions predicting the death of their brave soldier and his close friend, Duncan, in Arrakis. Leto expresses his plan to ally with the Fremen, the people of Arrakis, instead of exploiting the spice as the previous ruler did. In the Harkonnen household, the former ruler Baron and his nephew Rabban talk about handing over Arrakis to the Atreides. Rabban disagrees with the Emperor's decision, but Baron discloses the Emperor's hidden agenda to destroy the Atreides, concerned about their growing influence while mining spice on Arrakis. On Caladan, Jessica wakes up Paul and takes him to a doctor for a checkup. Mother Gaius Helen Mohiam discovers Paul's visions and tests his control by making him place his hands in a box, which he barely endures. After Mohiam leaves, Jessica discloses that the Bene Gesserit organization has been covertly influencing politics. They've manipulated bloodlines to produce a man with the potential to save Arrakis from exploitation. Paul's successful test indicates he's the one they've been seeking, the Arrakis Messiah. The next day, Leto, Paul, Jessica, and their entourage land on Arrakis and are welcomed by the indigenous Fremen, who already consider Paul their Messiah, a belief he dismisses as superstition. In his quarters, Paul learns about the sandworms on Arrakis and how the Fremen navigate to evade them. Meanwhile, Paul is attacked by a deadly insect, but he narrowly manages to save himself. Upon investigation, they discover a hidden Harkonnen soldier scheming to assassinate him. In another location, Baron discusses the Emperor's plot with Mohiam, who is aware of the plan to attack the Atreides but unable to prevent it. She pleads with Baron not to harm Jessica and Paul. Although he agrees not to kill them outright, Baron intends to expose them to the lethal sandworms as a sinister plan. On Arrakis, a meeting takes place to plan their spice mining operations. It's revealed that the Harkonnens sabotage their equipment, setting them up for failure. Later, Paul reconnects with Duncan, who has been living among the Fremen. Duncan imparts their desert survival skills and introduces Stilgar, the leader of a Fremen community known as Sietch. Stilgar encounters Leto and expresses resentment about exploiting resources without benefiting the people. Leto vows not to harm the Sietch communities. The next day, Leto and his team examine the spice sands for mining and encounter a Freeman and an Imperial ecologist named Dr. Leetkines. She evaluates the functionality of Leto's suit, designed to recycle bodily fluids into drinkable water. While inspecting Paul's suit, Kynes notices his proficiency in Freeman suit-wearing techniques, despite it being his first attempt. This recognition prompts Kynes to remember a prophecy foretelling that their Messiah would understand the customs of the Freemen, even if from a distant land. After examining the spice sands, Leto and his team witness two sandworms approaching the harvester. Efforts to rescue the crew inside the harvester fail as the anchor of the carrier breaks. In response, Leto quickly orders everyone to use their aircraft for the rescue. They succeed in saving the crew, but during the operation, Paul inhales spice and experiences a vision. Back home, he feels peculiar, and the doctor diagnoses it as an allergy, a claim Paul disputes. He mentions a vision of a Fremen girl in Jessica's pregnancy, but she dismisses it. On the Imperial Army planet, a battalion known as the Seducer prepares to attack the Atreides. Meanwhile, on Arrakis, the Doctor, secretly a spy for Baron Harkonnen, gives Paul, Jessica, and Leto medicine intended to render Paul unconscious. As the Seducer launch their attack, Leto realizes the betrayal but is incapacitated by the Doctor's dart. The Seducer, with superior numbers and firepower, swiftly overwhelm the Atreides, gaining the upper hand in the conflict. Amid the chaos, the Doctor reveals to the injured Leto that he had no choice but to obey Baron Harkonnen, who has captured Jessica. The Doctor takes Leto's ring and implants a poisoned tooth in his jaw, a lethal weapon that can release deadly gas when bitten. At the same time, Paul and Jessica, captured by the Seducer army, use their unique abilities to break free. They overpower their captors and find a trinket left by the Doctor for their survival as they escape into the desert. Meanwhile, an unconscious Leto is presented before Baron Harkonnen. Baron kills the Doctor and informs Leto that his bloodline is coming to an end. Cornered, Leto activates the poison gas in his tooth, resulting in the demise of everyone in the room, including himself. In grief, Paul and Jessica find Leto's ring and come to terms with his tragic end. Duncan seeks assistance from Imperial ecologist Kynes to locate them. Meanwhile, at Baron Harkonnen's palace, his soldiers discover the Baron unharmed, clinging to the ceiling after the gas disperses, leaving them astonished. During these events, Paul undergoes intense visions fueled by the spice, foreseeing an impending holy war where he bears responsibility for the deaths of millions, causing him great distress. Jessica, his mother, provides comfort and support during this tumultuous period. Following this, Paul puts on his father's ring, taking on the title of Duke of Atreides. They are discovered by Duncan, who recognizes Paul as the Lord Duke and kneels in acknowledgement. Kynes guides them to a hidden location, an old ecological station designed to turn Arrakis into a lush paradise with plentiful water. However, the revelation of spice in the sand diverted attention from the project, resulting in its abandonment. In the unfolding events, the Seducer army assaults the safe zone, and Duncan selflessly sacrifices himself to shield Jessica and Paul, despite Paul foreseeing his demise. They successfully escape with Kynes. Jessica and Paul take flight in a two-person aircraft, while Kynes intends to meet the Fremen to support their cause from another station. As Seducer soldiers capture Kynes, she summons a sandworm, resulting in their demise. Meanwhile, Paul's aircraft is pursued by enemy vehicles. Masterfully navigating through a sandstorm, Paul creates the illusion that their craft is destroyed, effectively evading their adversaries. In another scene, Baron, recovering from the gas exposure, discovers Leto's death. Satisfied with the downfall of his rival house, he instructs Rabban to persist in spice harvesting and wipe out the Fremen. Meanwhile, Paul and Jessica, following their crash landing, embark on a quest to find the Fremen. Paul's knowledge of Fremen life proves crucial in navigating the perilous desert and avoiding sandworm encounters. While taking a break, a sandworm draws near, but the circumstances shift as someone activates a thumper, diverting the worm's attention. Stilgar, the Fremen leader, and his followers encircle Paul and Jessica. While Stilgar sees the potential for Paul as the Messiah, some remain doubtful, asserting that Paul must demonstrate his worth before earning recognition. As the Fremen get ready to leave, a confrontation erupts when the leader insults Jessica, questioning her strength. Jessica demonstrates her power by taking the man hostage. The Fremen leader instructs them to head to Siege Tabor to decide the destinies of Paul and Jessica. In this moment, Cheney, the girl from Paul's visions, emerges and introduces herself. Before departing, a Freeman named James challenges Paul to a duel. According to Freeman customs, duels end with one person's death. Paul, torn about taking a life, eventually defeats James but finds it difficult to end his life. Reluctantly, he concludes James's life, and the group heads to Siege Tabor, carrying James's body. The movie concludes with Paul witnessing a man riding a massive sandworm, and Chaney hints that this is only the start, suggesting there's more to come in the sequels.